The Philippines has ratified a new defense pact with Japan that would allow each country's military to deploy on each other's soil amid increased regional tensions with China. The agreement between the two countries was signed in July over shared concerns about China's growing assertiveness in the region and also confrontations between Philippine and Chinese naval vessels. This is in the contested areas of the South China Sea. China, as you know, claims much of the South China Sea, a key focal point for global shipping. But these claims are disputed by Brunei, Malaysia, the Philippines, Taiwan, and Vietnam. For further clarity on the matter, we have with us Don McClain Gill. As always, Don, thanks so much for joining us on NDTV. In terms of mutual benefit, Don, both the Philippines and Japan, we know, are facing security challenges in the region. But what are the key benefits for each side in this agreement? And how does it enhance their defense capabilities? And what specific threats are they preparing to address together?
All right. So first of all, thank you so much for having me, Parmeshwar. Always a pleasure to talk to you. Now, the RAA is in fact an important cornerstone in the deepening security partnership between the Philippines and Japan. Now, the Philippines has a visiting forces agreement with the United States. It has a status of forces agreement with Australia. And now it has a reciprocal access agreement with Japan. Now, what the RAA does is that it expedites any form of military-to-military engagement between Philippine and Japanese forces in a manner that was not seen in the previous years or previous decades. So this would significantly bolster the capacity of both states to deploy at a timely fashion collaborative activities and collaborative exercises, which are crucial, in times of crisis. So the time and the element of the timing and the allowance of course, more sophisticated activities, joint activities, make the RAA an important cornerstone in Philippine national security policy. And more importantly, this integrates well within the overarching interests of the Philippines to deepen its position within the existing hub and spoke network between the US, Japan, and Australia.
Right.
So in that regard, that is complementary.
Don, how significant would you say this new defense pact is in terms of regional security, which you briefly touched upon, but especially concerning China's growing assertiveness in the South China Sea?
Well, the Philippines and Japan are in fact at the receiving end of Chinese expansionism and belligerence. The Philippines and Japan are two critical areas of the first island chain to which China seeks to project power in. And this is, of course, with the purpose of disrupting the security architecture there. So with the Philippines and Japan enhancing cooperation based on shared threats and threat perceptions, but also common regional interests and goals. This is important because China has always pursued unilateralism in the Western Pacific. It has gained considerably without the overt use of military force through salami slicing. The divide and conquer approach is in fact very important in China's power projection. So if we have the Philippines and Japan, two important players in the first island chain, coordinate and consolidate effort, that would make it more difficult for Beijing to penetrate.
As always, Don, thanks so much for sharing your insights and joining us on NDTV.